Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into part 6 of our 10-part tutorial, Machine Learning for IT Professionals. This whole series is brought to you by Virtualization Options LLC, which is a fantastic Colorado-based research, education, and advisory organization. So look, in previous chapters, we laid down the foundational theory. But today, in chapter 6, we are getting our hands dirty. We're going to demystify exactly how machine learning is just the natural next step for the skills you already use every single day. We're skipping the hype and zeroing in on the actual, practical applications of ML in your daily IT workflows. Let's get right into it. Okay, so here's our roadmap for chapter 6. We'll hit 5 key areas. 1, ML and modern IT. 2, 3 machine learning paradigms, 3 data, the golden rule, 4 core algorithms for IT, and finally, number 5, your essential ML toolkit. Section 1, ML in modern IT. The shift is already here.
You know, it's funny. People talk about ML like it's some distant sci-fi future. It's really not. The integration of machine learning into IT ops is already reshaping how modern infrastructure teams work. It's actively powering anomaly detection, predictive maintenance, and intelligent automation in production environments right this second. Seriously, teams that embrace this are totally ditching the old reactive mindset, waiting around for a server to crash or an alert storm to fire off. Instead, they're being proactive. They're predicting those failures before a single end user even notices a glitch. And honestly, understanding this shift, that's what gives IT pros a massive, undeniable edge in their careers today. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'm not a data scientist, but here is your unique advantage. The learning curve is so much smaller than you think because you aren't starting from scratch. Your foundation in traditional IT workflows is literally the perfect launchpad. Sure, data scientists might know all the complex under-the-hood math, but you know what the data actually means. You understand systems, you know event logs inside and out, and you build data pipelines. I mean, you know exactly what a nasty memory leak looks like in the wild, right? That real-world domain expertise is the hardest thing to teach, and you already have the whole shebang. All right, moving right along to Section 2, 3 machine learning paradigms, choose based on data. So how do we actually approach building a model? Well, it's not really about picking your favorite one. Your choice is dictated purely by the data you have sitting in front of you. Let's break down your 3 main choices. First up is supervised learning. This is where your model learns from clearly labeled data. For us in IT, a perfect example is classifying network traffic as malicious or benign because you have a ton of historical examples to train it on. Next, we have unsupervised learning. This is when you've got this massive pile of raw data with absolutely no labels at all, and you need the algorithm to find the hidden patterns. Think about clustering servers with similar book kind of weird behaviors to spot anomalies you didn't even know to look for. And finally, there's reinforcement learning. This is where an agent learns through rewards and penalties. Imagine auto-scaling your infrastructure. The system gets a reward for keeping performance up while keeping cloud costs down, and it gets a penalty if latency suddenly spikes. Pretty cool, right? Okay, Section 3, data. The golden rule, garbage in, garbage out. Now, we've got to pivot from the fun theory to the gritty, sometimes painful reality of production. 70 to 80%. Just let that sink in for a second. That massive number is the actual chunk of time you are going to spend just cleaning and structuring raw IT logs and metrics so your models don't just silently fail. Welcome to the glamorous life of data science. Honestly, you're going to spend way more time being a data janitor than you will actually tuning cool algorithms. But I promise you, getting this part right is exactly what separates a successful production model from an absolute train wreck. So to avoid that classic garbage in, garbage out nightmare, you have to nail a few key pre-processing steps. First off, handle your missing values. You've got to impute, drop, or flag those nulls. Second, normalize your numeric ranges. You do this so no single feature artificially bosses the model around just because its baseline numbers are naturally higher. And third, encode your categorical fields. You literally have to translate text-based info, things like OS type, region, or alert severity, into numerical formats that the model can actually read and digest. But wait, just cleaning the data isn't the end of it. Raw data rarely gives you that perfect, exact signal you're hunting for, so you have to engineer it. You transform raw access logs into something meaningful. This is what we call feature engineering.
Think about it. A raw access log is really just a boring line of text. But if you engineer it to show requests per second spokes, or maybe you calculate rolling averages for CPU and memory usage, or even create error rate ratios, suddenly, boom, you are handing your model incredibly high-quality, actionable signals to actually learn from. It is an absolute game changer.
Let's roll right into Section 4, Core Algorithms, Tools for IT Pros.
With our data squeaky clean and our features beautifully engineered, let's look at the specific algorithms you actually need to know. We'll start with the absolute classics: linear and logistic regression. Regression is your rock-solid, foundational tool for straightforward predictions based on historical trends. Linear regression, that's for continuous values, numbers that slide up and down over time. Logistic regression, which is kind of confusingly named, is actually what you use for binary outcomes. Basically, your classic yes or no, true or false scenarios.
Think of regression as your absolute go-to for the everyday stuff, forecasting when a hard drive is going to completely fill up, predicting future bandwidth consumption, or figuring out a binary outcome, like is this specific login attempt totally normal, or is it super suspicious? It's incredibly efficient, very easy to wrap your head around, and it runs flawlessly on standard hardware.
Next up on our list, decision trees and random forests. Now, when you're in a spot where you need to understand exactly why a model made a specific choice, decision trees are your best friend. They offer this really clear, branch-like logic path. And a random forest? That's really just a whole bunch of these trees teaming up to give you a much more accurate result. They are fantastic because they're highly interpretable. You can literally look at the model and trace the exact rule path it followed to reach its conclusion.
And because of that total transparency, these algorithms are absolutely perfectly suited for automated IT tasks. They totally excel at predicting where a new support ticket should be routed based on its text, or classifying the true severity of a system alert, or even helping out with root cause analysis during major incident triage. If your boss marches in and asks why the system flagged an alert as critical, a decision tree lets you point to the screen and show them exactly why. No guesswork.
Then we reach neural networks. Now we're talking about deep learning models designed for complex, high-dimensional patterns. These bring immense, mind-blowing power, but they are generally reserved for highly complex scenarios where the simpler algorithms just totally fall short. They require a ton of data, massive compute power, and honestly, they operate largely as a black box. That means it is incredibly difficult to explain exactly how the network actually arrived at its decision. But look, when you need that power, absolutely nothing else compares. You deploy neural networks for advanced natural language processing on massive, highly complex support queues, or maybe analyzing colossal, unstructured log streams at a global scale, or even image-based infrastructure monitoring, like actively scanning data center thermal camera feeds to spot overheating server racks.
But right here, this is a massive takeaway, so listen closely. I want to emphasize that complexity is not a virtue in production ML. Always start with the simplest approach that solves your infrastructure problem. Please don't jump straight to a neural network just because it sounds cool or looks impressive on a resume. A clean, well-tuned decision tree is going to reliably outperform a noisy, poorly configured deep learning model every single time. Start simple, prove the value to your team, and only scale up the complexity when the data absolutely demands it.
Okay, last but not least, Section 5, your essential ML toolkit, Python and frameworks. Finally, let's briefly touch on the actual tools you'll use to bring all of this together in your environment: Python, scikit-learn, and TensorFlow. These three form the foundational stack for almost all ML engineering today. Python is the scripting language of choice. It's basically the glue holding the whole operation together. Scikit-learn is your absolute powerhouse library for building those traditional algorithms we just talked about, like regression and decision trees. And TensorFlow? That's the heavy hitter you bring off the bench when it's finally time to design and train complex, deep neural networks. As we wrap up Chapter 6 of this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your daily infrastructure tasks. Which of your current manual IT workflows is ripe for your very first automated ML model? You've already got the domain knowledge. You have the data. And now you understand the foundational playbook. So the only question left is, are you going to let your systems keep surprising you, or are you going to step up and start predicting the future? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer by Virtualization Options LLC. I will see you back here for Chapter 7, where we are going to put these exact tools to the test.